for the whole world to know that it was a Holocaust and that you see in somebody that survived that misery as a 7-year-old little girl.
91-year-old Reva Hirsch is begging younger generations to remember the Holocaust and urging them to not let it happen again. Hirsch is a Holocaust survivor now living in Homewood. She sat down with our Maddie McQueen today on this International Holocaust Remembrance Day to share her story of survival.
Reva Hirsch grew up in Romania in a house with her parents, grandmother, and 2 brothers. She remembers the day in 1941 when 2 men working at her father's mink manufacturing ran up to the house, warning her parents of something bad coming to the town.
He came in and he said, now we're going to have to leave the house. We opened the door, and we Jewish people, we have a mezuzah. And we turned around, and Dad says we have to kiss the mezuzah because we're never going to come back anymore.
Reva Hirsch remembers leaving in the middle of the night, having to leave behind all of the comforts of her old life as she and her family made their way into the forest. But she and her family were captured by German soldiers.
I held on to my mother's skirt and my brother to the other side. They took my father, threw them away in another cage. They took my brothers away from my mother, didn't let them go. So they start taking the baguettes and beat her up so bad. It was unbelievable. And they took me away from my mother.
Hirsch says the Germans made her walk on already bloody feet to what they were calling a better place.
While I was walking, my dear love, my feet and others and my parents stepped on dead bodies and on small babies, smaller than me, smaller than 7-year-old. You could have seen piles and piles of dead people, the dogs eating them, the Germans ripping them apart to look for gold or something. And again, every minute, every second, they shot somebody else.
After walking, Hirsch was put in a train carrying animals and hundreds of other Jews, dead or alive. She says she was pushed off the train, still carrying the scars on her arms and face from landing on wires, and ferried across a river to a camp in Ukraine. Hirsch spent 2 years in that camp, saying she was more dead than alive. She remembers the night she was rescued, a man waking her up in the middle of the night, hiding her under hay in a wagon, and taking her to a Ukrainian convent. Hirsch says the man told her to play dead should the wagon get stopped on their way.
They did stop the wagon, but again, I was very fortunately, like I said, God wanted me to survive. They didn't go in too deep, because if they would go in too deep, they would find me.
Hirsch was kept in a bunker at the convent for another 2 years until 1945, when the nuns told her she was free.
She took me into her quarters and wrapped me around with their uniforms because I was bleeding my feet from snow, filthy, and she said, now you have to leave.
Reva Hirsch was reunited with her parents and brothers after the war. You can watch the full interview in this story on our website, CBS42.com. Reporting in the newsroom, Maddie McQueen, CBS 42 News.